Hey everyone, so I'm going to do the review sheet for your test this week. So the first question says, what's the inverse of y equals log 3x? Now the definition of an inverse is that you need to switch x and y. Now when you do that, the problem is that it puts the y inside of the log, and to get it outside the log, we're going to write it into exponential form. So we're going to take our base, raise it to the x, and then set it equal to that. So it'd be 3 to the x equals y. Okay, you could also just know it's this because log and exponents are inverses of each other. This question, to evaluate it, use the change of base formula, which means do log over log and put the base on bottom. Use alpha y equals in your calculator, close your parentheses, and you're going to get an answer of 1.392. Next question says use the formula pH equals negative log H plus, where H plus is the concentration of hydrogen ions of the solution. Calculate the pH of lemon juice, which is a pH H plus of 5.0 times 10 to the negative third, and please round your answer to the nearest tenth. So we are going to type this in, and I'll just type it in exactly like that, and I'll end up getting an answer of 2.3 pH value. Next question, they want you to find the x values. When you're equal to an absolute value in a log, there's no way to solve it by hand, so what we're going to do is we're going to use y1 and y2. Remember to use math num to get the absolute value. And then with this guy, you're going to do log x divided by log 3 and y2. Make sure you use the parentheses. When you do that, you should get a graph that looks kind of like this. Something like it. And it'll cross at these two values here. And you're going to do the second trace intersect command. And you're going to select choice 1 because this guy is 2.29 when you find the intersection. This guy is 3.63 when you get the intersection. Next question, they give you the formula. Okay, they say that A is the total amount, P dollars are invested at rate R per year, compounded N times per year for T years. So time is in years, N represents the amount of compounds, P is how much is invested, R is your rate. So we're investing $450, so that's your P. And your R is this 8.8, but we're going to change that to 0.088. It's compounded monthly, so that means N is going to be 12. So we're going to put 12 in for N. And we're going to put 12 times, and T is also 12 in this case because time is 12 years. You're going to type that all into your calculator, and you're going to get an answer of $1,288.71 when you round properly. Okay, so this guy here, you're going to read this question slowly because you're not going to want to miss anything. So they give you a formula here. In this formula, I need to know M, I need to know P, I need to know N, and I need to know T. Sometimes writing these things on the side helps you figure out what is what. M is the size of the mortgage, N is the number of compounds, T is the length in years, which is important, and P is this weird formula, which is not that weird, it's just the R over N formula that we had to memorize. And R is your rate as a decimal. They want a monthly payment, which is this whole formula. So they want you to find this whole formula on a $180,000 24-month mortgage with 6% interest compounded money to the nearest dollar. This is rounding, so we're not going to forget that. So they just give you a lot of information in one sentence. The mortgage is worth $180,000, so that's M. It is compounded monthly, so that's N, 12. R is going to be 0.06, so I'm going to put 1 plus 0.06 over 12 here. And if I type that into my calculator, that gets me P is 1.005. That's your P value. And then T is your time in years, and they told you months, so we're going to divide that by 12 so that we get 2 for T. Now I'm going to plug in. So big bar, because it's a big fraction, I'm going to put in 180,000 for M. P is 1.005. going to raise that to the n, which is 12, and the times t, which is 2. And then 1 minus 1.005. And then in the denominator, you're going to do 1 minus 1.005, and that's going to be raised to the 12 times 2 as well. And you're going to type this into your calculator very carefully with parentheses, and you're going to end up getting an answer of, to the nearest dollar, because they want you to round that way, $7,978. This question says a student studying public policy created a model for the population of Detroit where it decreased by 25% over a decade. So this is percentages in decades. He used this model where P is the population in thousands, D is in decades. Another student, Suzanne, wants to use their model in years, so we want to change the letter, which means that this formula does not match the choices. If they don't change the letter, the formula has to match one of the choices. But because they changed D, they want you to change D to become Y. We're going to have to do something to make this letter change. To make this letter change, we're going to have to multiply this exponent by 1/10, because that's the conversion for decades. And it should make sense, because if you had 2 decades, that would be 20 years. But you need to divide that by 110. Sorry, that's 75. You need to multiply that by 1/10 to get back to the 2, so it's equivalent. So if you type in 0.75 to the 1/10 in your calculator, you're going to get this decimal here. Okay, so in this question, they give you a formula here, and they say it's modeling a behavior of cesium-137 that remains after 2 years. They want you to know when the average rate of decay is the fastest. They're asking you to find slope. Okay, which you know is y minus y over x minus x. So what you're going to do is you're going to do slope for all the choices, and we're going to find the one that has the fastest average rate of change that's declining. So I'm going to do, usually you do the second one minus the first one, but it doesn't matter, the order. So I'm putting all these in as x values, because when they give you this, that they're giving you the x values. They're all x1, x2. If you remember the formulas like this, with the subscripts, 2 and 1. All right, and 30 minus 1. To get the y values, you're going to look at the table. So you're going to put this into y1 and look at the table. Okay, so when I look at my table and I find the number for 1, it's going to be 97.726. I can put that in choice 2 as well. Next number I can put in is 10. When I look at the table at 10, I get 79.453. I can put that in this choice as well, 79.453. And then I can put 20 here, which is 63.128. And then 25, if you look at the table, gets you 56.27 minus 70.822. And then choice 4 gets you 50.158. Again, we're getting all these values from the table, the y values. So type all these in into your calculator with the regular screen, alpha y equals. You're going to get negative 2.03 for this guy. You'll get negative 1.63 for this guy. You'll get negative 1.64 for him. And for choice 3, you'll get negative 1.455. So the one with the largest average rate of decay would be choice 1, because that's the biggest negative. Okay, so they ask you, suppose a certain type of bacteria, according to the model, where T is in hours. They want you to do the percent. So if you look at this formula, it's actually just PERT, P-E-R-T. If you want the rate that it reproduces, you just look at the exponent. It's 0.271, but to make it a rate, move it over. You're going to get 27.1%. The initial number of bacteria is 100, because that's the p-value. They want you to find 5 hours one day and 3 days. Now, be careful. This is T in hours, so we're going to change this to 24 hours, and we're going to change this to 72 hours, so that when I type this in, I get the right answer. So for I, I'm going to do 100 e to the 0.271 times 5 in the exponent, and you'll end up getting, if you put that all in the exponent, you're going to get, they want you to round to the nearest whole number, so we're going to make sure we do that. So when you type that in, you'll get 388. For 2, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do 100e to the 0.271. I'm going to put in 24. And I'm going to get 66781. The last one is plugging in 72, so 100 e to the 0.271 times 72. When you get your calculator with this one, it gives you like a really weird number. Hold on, I'm trying to fix this. So times 72. It gives you like E10 at the end, and it's like 2.978. So round that to 3, and it's just scientific notation, so times 10 to the 10th. Now they're asking you, when will it be 500 bacteria cells? That means they're looking for T, how long. So we're going to set this equal to the equation. You're going to use y1 and your y2, and you're going to graph. So make sure you make your window big enough. You want to make sure you see the 500. I'm going to label that y equals 500. And then I'm going to graph this guy. When I make my window big enough, I'll be able to see the intersection. We'll label him B, because that's the name of his. And you're going to do second intersect, and you're going to end up getting x equals 5.9. Rounding to the nearest hour, it is 6 hours, the answer. All right, we're going to graph this guy. Just make sure you're only doing -2 to 2, because that's what they're asking for. You don't have to do the table. I just like to see it. So it gets you 9, 3, 1, 1/3, and 1/9. It's like 0.33 in your calculator and 0.1111, so that's fine. But for me, I make it into a fraction. Okay, so I'm going to do -2, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then -1, 3. 1, 2, 3 here. And then 0, 1, and then make it small. This is small, and this is small. Now, you're not going to put arrows on this because they gave you an interval, so no arrows on this graph. We're just going to connect the dots here. All right, it's decreasing if you look at the graph looking from left and right. So you'd say it's decreasing. And the reason why it decreases is because 1/3 is less than 1 and also 0. It's between 0 and 1, basically. That's your reason. It's decreasing because it's between 0 and 1. The y-intercept is at 0, 1. And the asymptote is at if you look at it, it's the x-axis. And the correct equation for that is y equals 0. Okay, for this guy, you're going to graph a log. To graph a log, you want to make sure that you type it into your calculator in the y equals split up using the change of base. So you're going to do log x plus 3 divided by log 2 minus 5. Make sure you close the parentheses that I have here, like this guy, that guy, and that guy, and that guy. Put that into y1, and you're going to get a graph. Now, the thing is here is they want both intercepts. So in order to get both intercepts, you actually have to make the x max go all the way to at least 30, because the intercept for the x-axis is at 29. So to get to 30, I counted by 3s. So I did 3, 9, oh, I'm sorry, 3, 6, 9, and 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, okay, and then -3. Now -3 is actually really important because that's your asymptote. To find your asymptote, set the inside equal to 0 and then solve. When you do that, you get x equals -3 is the asymptote. Now you don't have to draw the asymptote, but it's nice to draw it because you get the boundary. Having this into your calculator, the actual whole equation will get you points. So my my y-intercept is almost, well, it's -3 point something. So if you look at the table, so 1, 2, 3, it's about here. And then you'll get, like, estimate a few points. I know 29, 0 is the x-intercept. I have a few more, so I think I plotted 5, which is almost at 2. And then I plotted between 12 and 15, which is 13. I think it was around 1. And I get this graph. But you get these points off your table when I go through that intercept and this intercept, because that's what they want. All right, the domain and range. The domain always has to do with the asymptote. In this case, it's x is greater than -3. And your range is all real numbers because it goes all the way down and all the way up. Your end behavior is as x goes to infinity, y goes up, because that's the right. And as x goes to, now it can't go to the left, but it can go to -3. Y goes down. And the transformation that occurred from the parent is left 3 and down 5, because inside the parentheses means left and outside means down. Okay, to solve this, you're going to add 2. You get x to the -3 over 4 equals 8. And to get the exponent to move and become just x, that would cancel out. You multiply the exponent by the reciprocal, so type in 8 to the -3 over 4. I'm sorry, -4 over 3, so 8 to the -4 over 3, and you get 0.0625. You could also write it as 1 over 16. To check, just plug in for x. This guy, you're going to get the same base. 2 is just 2 times 1, but 8 can break up into 4 and 2, and then 2 and 2. So it gets you 2 to the 3rd, and then you'll have 2x. These guys will cancel. You'll set x squared plus 3x minus 10 equal to 6x, and x squared likes to equal 0. So I'm going to subtract the 6x. And then I'm going to do AM. So I get x minus 5 and x plus 2. So I get 2 answers, x equals 5 and x equals -2. To check, plug in. But these guys both work. Last question asks you to find g -1. This means find the inverse. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to switch x and y to do that. And I'm going to solve for the new y. So I'll add 3 over first. Now, to get y alone, you have to cube root, because you want to get rid of that power of 5 first before you subtract the 2. So you're going to subtract your 2 now. Sorry, I don't know why I changed that. That's a 3. And you're going to end up getting the cube root of x plus 3 minus 2 is on the outside. It does not go with the radical because it's not inside the radical, and equals y. You should label it, though, the name that they gave it. So they gave it g of x. So it'll be g -1 of x equals the cube root of x plus 2, x plus 3, I'm sorry, I did it again, minus 2. And this is your answer, minus 2. Okay, study up and good luck.